So I'm here at my berry patch and I need to start ripping out some strawberries that I've had in here for 5 years. And all the baby runners that I got this year, I need to transplant into the new spot that I'm ripping out. So I'm going to rip out some strawberry plants, and then I'm going to put some compost down, mix that in, and then I'm going to transplant these new baby runners that came on this whole season, and I'm going to transplant them into the new spot. So last year I ripped out half of the bed and it was already planted this spring. So I'm just going to do the other half of this bed and just rip it completely out. So we haven't had any rain, so the ground has been super hard. So I'm hoping it's not going to be too hard to rip all these strawberry plants up. I have neglected this strawberry patch for a couple months and I really need to rip out some weeds and just clean up everything before it gets too cold outside. So I'm just going to start that, see how it goes today. If I can just get everything just ripped out today, I would be so happy with that, and then transplant hopefully tomorrow or the next day. So looking at this bed right here, this section over here is actually a brand new section that I planted this spring. So last fall I ripped out half of this bed right here and then put compost down, and then I literally waited till this spring and put new plants in. So this half is actually going on 5 years this next spring, and that's way too long for a strawberry plant. I've actually been having really small strawberries the past 2 years. They haven't been doing very good. I really need to rip all of this out so I can start fresh. Usually strawberry plants only last 3 to 4 years of giving you a really good, big, juicy strawberry. So that's why I'm gonna rip all this out and start again, so this bed will be full of strawberries this next year. So I'm using my husband's welding glove to pull all of these strawberry plants up because we've been seeing a lot of snakes the past couple days and I really don't want to see a snake, and this is actually really thick leather, so I'll have my hands protected if I run into a snake. So I brought in the last of my compost that I made this spring, and I'm just going to dump it in here. Now I went ahead and tilled all of this up to kind of loosen it up because it's super hard dirt. When we first moved here, we ordered an order of topsoil mixed with a little bit of compost, and this dirt was super hard when we bought it. So I'm hoping whenever I put the compost in here and then use the tiller and till it in, it'll help loosen up this soil and keep it loose. Okay, so I got it all tilled in. Looks so nice. I think I might run a hose out here and water it down just to kind of pack it down a little bit, making sure we don't have any air pockets before I start transplanting some of these baby runners. So this is what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be taking these runners right here and I'm going to be putting them into the new bed that I just did. I'm going to be cutting all of this off and planting these roots in there. And I'm gonna have to keep it watered every single day, making sure they don't die. So you can see here, there's actually some forming into this walking path. So I'll dig this up and put them in there too. And this is actually the variety that I really love. It's called Sure Crop. It's done really well for me this year. So I'm gonna take all of these runners and I'm gonna put them into this new section here and just have to keep this constantly watered all the time. And then closer to Thanksgiving, I'll be covering everything in straw to protect the plant all year so we can still get really good juicy berries for next year. This runner has 2 strawberry plants on it, and underneath here, right here, is the roots that come out. You can't see them right now, but eventually whenever these go into the soil and I start watering them, roots will start coming out of here and it'll grow into a really big strawberry plant next year. And these actually will produce really nice, big, juicy strawberries next year. So this one, I'm just gonna cut in half right here. And then literally just put it right down into the soil here. Make sure it's good and snug in the soil, because once I water all of this, I don't want any of this moving around. I want to make sure it's good, has a good secure spot in the soil. Okay. And I will do this to the whole entire strawberry bed. It looks like I'm going to have a ton of runners to plant this year. Last year I didn't have that many runners to plant, but this year I'm definitely going to be able to fill up this strawberry bed. So my goal, which this was my goal last year, I don't want to have to buy any strawberry plants next year, so as many as I can plant in this bed of what I have, I am going to not have to buy any strawberry plants next year. So that has been a goal of mine, and I'm going to try to stick to that so I don't have to buy any and save some money next spring. So sometimes whenever I'm planting these, I will use an extra garden staple to hold them in place. So whenever I put them in here, if they're really shallow, I'll just take this garden staple and just hold it down in place. That way it can stay in the soil and not move around whenever I'm watering it. Okay, see, I got some running out here. See, this one looks a little rough with the leaf, but that's fine. It still will produce a good strawberry plant. I'm still gonna plant this. I mean, this doesn't mean it's technically dying at all. It's just probably starting to go dormant. So right here on these concrete blocks actually has quite a bit of runners running off here. So this is quite a bit of strawberries. So I am so excited that I get to plant all of these into this bed over here. And again, I did this in September last year. I planted all of these and kept them watered every single week. This is actually a good little section that I did last year transplanting, and you can see a bunch of these came back that I planted in September last year. So you can see here just as many as I'm planting already. I'm not even done. I have literally just went down this concrete blocks right here and gathered all of these. So I haven't even touched even this bed over here, or even this side of the bed, or even those over there. There's tons of runners. So I'm just gonna plant them really close together because I know I'll lose, you know, some of them through the winter time, but a lot of these will come back, and I want as many strawberries as possible next year. So I'm just gonna plant them really close together, and then whenever they produce runners next year, they'll fill up the bed even more, and this will be so lush with strawberry plants next year. So these are the ones I planted in the spring. Look how green they still are. You can almost tell a difference. And before I ripped all of this out, how dark green this side was because they were old strawberries. And then these were a different color. These were actually a lighter, more lush green. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue to fill up this bed. That way I can just get it done. We're in the middle of September right now, and I really need to get this done. So once I'm done with all of this, I will come back in the end of November, close to Thanksgiving, or even the first week of December, and I will be covering all my strawberry plants in straw. What I've learned was you don't want to cover your strawberry plants too early because you can kill out a lot of your plants. You want to actually make sure it almost looks like your strawberry plants are dying. So I'll zoom in right here, try to give an example. So you can still see there's quite a bit of green in this bed over here. But you can see a lot of them look dead. And they're actually not dead, they're actually going dormant. But this bed, I will wait until more than 50% of them are in dormant, and they will look almost completely dead. And at the end of November, early December, I will be covering all of this in straw. That way I know that a lot of these are already in dormant. I'm not going to hurt the plant. And by covering them, you are covering them in the bitterly cold of wintertime, and it will protect the plant underneath the insulation of the straw, and it'll only give you bigger, juicier strawberries the next year. So I have learned this at my previous house that we had a beautiful strawberry box that we always grew the biggest strawberries ever, and I've always covered it in straw. And then we moved here, I actually did an experiment where I didn't cover in straw. I just kind of just let the beds just be. And we actually didn't have very big strawberries. So from learning that experience and then waiting until almost winter time to cover all of this, I had really huge success last year in having really big strawberries. So that's a really good tip to know, is wait as long as you can until it's more than 50% in dormant, cover with straw, and that'll just help get big juicy strawberries the next year. So I just been cutting off a handful, and then I just literally, I'm just going to throw them down right here, and then I'm just going to continue to cut all of the runners, and then I'll come back and replant. So you can see our strawberry bed here. This is actually one of the first wood beds that we put in when we first moved here 5 years ago, and the whole side just now fell off. So we're going to have to fix this for next year, because this bed we planted last year, and this is the bed that gave us amazing big juicy strawberries. I love this variety. It's called Sure Crop. If you're looking for a strawberry variety, this is the one to go for. We have got so much strawberries off of it, and they were a really good sized juicy strawberry, and they actually tasted really good. The name just says it all. If you're looking for a strawberry plant, I would definitely try this. So I want to mention again that I planted super close together on purpose, just because if I lose any plants this winter, I am assured that I still have enough that will survive and give me a very good crop next year, because I want this to be filled in so beautifully next year whenever they produce runners. So I guarantee this bed will be full and luscious of strawberry plants next year. These are all free. If I just take the time and clip them all off and have a bed ready of good healthy soil with compost and whatever amendments you need for your own soil, all of this is basically free. It's just taking the time and just cutting all of these off and getting them into the bed before fall really sets in, all this cold weather. So I am in zone 6B, so this might not work for everybody's zone, but I just experimented last year, and September seemed to be like the perfect month to transplant all of my strawberries. Now next year I will do a really good heavy fertilizer in early spring, and that will assure me that I'm going to get the biggest, juiciest strawberries, and they will be healthy all spring and summer. And then of course you want to make sure you're watering your strawberry plants. You don't want them dry out, because that'll just stress the plant out and they won't give you very many strawberries. I'm done planting for the day, so I'm just going to wait till late November, early December, and I will be covering everything in straw to protect them all winter long. So my strawberry planting is done for the fall, and I'm so excited because I cannot wait to harvest big juicy strawberries next year.